Empowered Educator Podcast, your place for personalized professional learning to go. Join me as I discuss educational topics that empower educators to take control and ownership of their own professional learning. I'm your host, Mel Vandevort. Welcome to the bonus episode of Empowered Educator Podcast. Since I missed an episode, I thought I would give you a little bonus episode. I also think that I have possibly learned, not mastered, but learned a little bit more about my recording software, and I hope that the quality of this episode is much better than the episodes that I have previously recorded. Today, I would like to talk about Brian Aspinall. He has agreed to be a guest on Empowered Educator in October, and I am super excited about that. He has written several books, including Code Breaker, Block Breaker, and Risk Taker. In preparation for Brian being on my podcast in October, I would like to do an all booked up book study over his book, Risk Taker. It's nice for me to be able to put away my homework assigned reading and actually read something that I want to for a change. And so I'm going to be reading Risk Taker over the next couple of weeks, and I would love for you to join me. That way we can talk about things that we have read in the book. And I always hate it when I hear about a book on a podcast or somewhere and I don't know what it's about because I haven't had the chance to read it or the opportunity to read it. So I want all of us to read it together and do a Twitter book study, do a Voxer book study. I don't care how we do it. We can do whatever, but I can do all of those. But I would love to have a book study with you guys over his book, Risk Taker, so we can chat about it and go in really deep and have some really great questions for Brian when he is on the podcast. I've recently been listening to Brian's podcast, which is called Code Breaker, Brian Aspinall. He has some really good episodes. Some are pretty short, so they're easy to listen to on your commute. He started this back when COVID started. He wanted to break into podcasting, and he had a little nudge from a friend that encouraged him to do it. So he did this as a COVID relief, I think. And turns out it's a blessing to all of us. So I encourage you to listen to that also. I love listening to podcasts as a way to grow myself. There are some really, really good leadership podcasts, technology-based podcasts. There are podcasts for pretty much anything, any topic that you would like to listen to for educational growth, and in your personal educational growth pursuit. So I encourage you to get on Spotify, get on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast, and check out some of the amazing podcasts that are available out there. I have a few on my website as well, empowerededucator.com. So you can go there and you can check out some of my favorite podcasts to listen to. One of my favorites that I listen to almost every single day is Rise with Rachel Hollis. She is very much on women empowerment in leadership. She's an entrepreneur, so it's business based, but there are a lot of great tips and a lot of information that I've taken away just for school leadership. So I recommend that one very much. And of course, one of my absolute favorites is Educational Duct Tape with Jake Miller. He does a lot. He's techno guy. He's super good techno guy. So I recommend that if there's anything that you're wanting to know about in the technology world, applications, different software, different techno tools, he's probably got an answer for you. And he's probably done a podcast episode on that also. So I highly recommend you checking that one out as well. Some of his guests include Holly Clark, Adam Welcome, Sarah Thomas of EduMatch. There are just so many. It'll take you a while to get through them. He's got several episodes. I think he's on season 3 now. So I highly recommend you check that one out as well. one of my absolute favorite podcasts on leadership, which is not educationally based at all, but it is a super podcast to get great information, is the Craig Groeschel podcast. He is the lead minister at Life Church. The podcast is not religious based, but he does try to stay away from that during the podcast. So he's not preaching to you, he is teaching you. He is a book guru. He reads a ton of leadership books to make sure that he is running an effective program at his church. And I just highly recommend that you check that out if you are a leader in any capacity, whether it be education or the business world. He is very good to listen to, and his podcast episodes are not too long. They're about 20 minutes, and he, of course, has all the notes and a lot of things that you can download to supplement what you've heard. I came across a quote today that said, "Alone we are smart, together we are brilliant," by Steven Anderson. And I totally agree with that. You know, I only have so much brain capacity, and right now it's full because of college. And, you know, doctoral degrees take a lot of your brain power. And so, you know, I really hope that you guys will join me for the All Booked Up book study for the book Risk Taker by Brian Aspinall. I need y'all to help me process what I've read and help me to take my thinking to a deeper level. I need to learn from you guys just as much as kids need to learn from you guys. So I hope you'll join me on the book study, the All Booked Up book study. I would like to start that next week. So if you can grab a copy and be prepared to start next Monday, we'll say Monday, next Monday we'll start. So I hope your Wednesday has been fabulous so far. Have a great rest of the day and a great rest of the week. So just a little side note, I am from southern Missouri, and I didn't really realize how southern I was until I listened to myself in a playback mode. And I say y'all a lot. So just to let you know, yep, I'm a southern girl. So enjoy my y'alls, y'all. Thank you for joining me today on Empowered Educator. All of the information and links from today's podcast will be on my website, empowerededucator.com. You can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Stitcher. Remember, professional learning should be sustainable, applicable, active, and targeted. So power up for personalized professional learning to go.